But this thing with Bill, they were both standing at the USO waiting for tickets to a play, because we did it in Detroit. I worked at the USO every
Well, wait.
Saturday night. That's what I say, every night I was doing something.
But no, I'm talking about Uncle Henry in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Henry and Bill were waiting at the counter, because as soon as the curtains would open, if there were any empty seats, they'd send the tickets to the USO so the boys could go, so they were all waiting in line. Well, that's what Henry was doing, waiting for a bed, standing in line waiting for a bed. And they told him it was, summertime, but one of them said to the, you're a Moylan or Carcella, because Henry was younger than I was, and Bill was a year older. I mean, they didn't, because when Bill went to Catholic high school, he went to St. Joe's near downtown. It was all boys school, so they started talking and all that, and Bill said, you can't sleep on the ground, they visited and buddied and all that, and he says, I tell you what, he said, I got a room, and he said, there's 5 cots in the room. They're not even as big as a single bed.
Oh, yeah.
But he said this lady's renting all her upstairs off, and there's many very important rules that you get shot if you don't follow. He said, you have to be very careful going up the steps, because you're not supposed to bring any other people, and I'll share my bed with you, you can sleep up there, and you shouldn't be sleeping outside, blah, blah. So anyway, he said, we'll go up individually. So they did, and he sneaked up. And he said when he got up there, that thing was so doggone small that once they take turns sleeping on the floor, because they'd have to turn together, and they're laughing about it. Well, anyway, one time I had to drop off some Liberty bonds, some bonds that we were selling, for the good of the E-bonds or something for the country. And I used to have to go to the married women's group and talk them into being, and I used to have to help the doctor teach first aid on another night. They always wanted me to go to every meeting. Well, anyhow, one night I was delivering bonds to some people that Mrs. Moylan was going to give her. So I go into her house, and she had a big reception room, and I look in the front room. There's a bunch of priests sitting around there, and Mrs. Moylan's there, and her older brother, and Father Dolan, which is a good friend of the family, and Father Tom. They were all in town, and they were talking away. And then she says, come on in, because my mother was at the ordination of her brothers, when St. Joe's, when they were made priests. Mm. So anyhow, she's talking and moving a great big chair in the corner, trying to move it for me. And she said, this is the girl Bill shared his bed one night in Washington with, And her old brother was quite a prude, He started to laugh. He said, Anna, I always told you your Pennsylvania Dutch should get you in trouble someday,
But didn't he say her brother at the end?
Hmm?
This is the woman that Bill spent the night with in Washington, D.C., her brother.
Yeah, she put that way at the end.
Yeah.
And then, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
I thought, this woman's crazy.
Well, she was crazy.
She said, come on in. And I said, no, I had to deliver bonds at the rectory, too. And I had a date, and I had to go there, and the priest dug me out because my car got stuck in their driveway, and they say, oh, you got a date. We'll help you these days, It was a good place to be, but it was funny.
So when how old were you when World War II broke out?
Well, let's see, it was about, was it 39, something like that?
World War II broke out in 39, 41.
Around the early 40s. And what I always think is such a miraculous sign is that on December the 8th, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. The next day, war was declared.
Mhm.
I mean, December 7th. December 7th, war was declared. And December the 8th, there were never more people in the church anyplace. You couldn't get into the Catholic Church. All the aisles, you know, they had fire laws. And forget the, you know, they used to have a code, you know, you can only have 4 chairs here and there. The outside, the churches, it was just, everybody was there. That was December 8th. When the war ended, Uncle Henry had come here, returning from Germany, where he was sent in the infantry, to the infantry, and he was there. They sent him home for 30 days to go to the Pacific. Boy, and then my dad got all upset. He says, "What? They couldn't kill him over there? Now they're going to kill him on the other side, you know?" He said, "I think you do one, you know." I said, "Oh." He even had a heart attack when he was while he was lost for 8 weeks, where they did. But that
Uncle Henry was lost for 8 weeks?
no, yeah, we didn't know where they were. They had no communication with them at all. There was a lot of bombing back and forth in Belgium. They were sleeping on the ice and eating, you know, K rations, and it was terrible, terrible. And he had a good time in Belgium after they stayed there a while.
Oh, great.
But I mean, different families would entertain them. So when the war, this one priest that he was a chaplain for down in Texas saw him in Germany. He said, "Hey," he said, "I could use you." And Henry said, "Wow, great." And he looks at his boots. He's got on parachute troop boots. And he said, "You know, I'm not going." He said, "Oh, it's nothing. I'll show you how. 1 or 2 jumps and, you know, it won't bother you. Don't worry about it." The priest was assigned with, Henry was the postage, with the postal department, or the priest was one of them, the other. And, oh, Henry thought, how am I going to tell him? I ain't got the guts. And the next morning, one or the other got shipped out. Didn't work, so. But when he was in Florida, waiting to be shipped to Germany, we had made a big box. We used to make about 17 boxes of cookies to sell them all, send them to all my brother's friends and kids we went to school with. And we made Henry the biggest box of all. And he was a chaplain. And Christmas Eve was decorating the chapel in a great big ladder. And the ladder collapsed, and he got cut right here.
Oh my God.
With the pew, you know,
Oh.
right across, and 4 teeth were hanging.
Oh my God.
And they could see the roots.
Ooh.
So his buddies just, you know, what they put ice on it, ran him over to the dentist's office, you know. And they kept saying, and Henry kept saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And he looked there and he saw these roots sticking up the top, whole gum down there. And the guy said he went out into got some tools and came back and he said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going to pull them out." And he went back and he get some more stuff, and Henry walked out of the chair. And he died with those teeth in his mouth.
Oh, dear.
Oh my God.
They hooked on, you know, they healed. But Henry thought,
Just a little flesh wound.
Henry said, I was going to let him take it out without you know, any thought.
Yeah.
Because he thought, gee, pulling that out was gruesome. So that